Dornbush download 167. Hi, I'm Andrew. I haven't been here forever. And Michael, freshly back from holidays. Cairns, you lucky sausage.
Yeah, a tremendous part of the world, Cairns, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, back to reality, and by gee, it hasn't taken long for reality to kick in.
And the 800 emails. So
yes,
we haven't responded yet. We are getting there. Not that we went on holidays together. I was at Currumbin, but yeah.
Good part of the world too.
Yeah, we're very lucky here in Queensland. Anyway, so normally, Michael, this time of year it's a bit quieter, you know, catching up on paperwork, emails when we go on holiday. What is going on? It's like it's an M&A, a merger and acquisition plethora. There's plenty going on. So which one do you want to touch on first?
Well, I think certainly, you know, Westfield was no doubt one that that not so necessarily took everyone by complete surprise, but it's a big announcement that came out sort of late yesterday afternoon that yeah, effectively the Westfield Group being sold off to a European mob, Unibail Rodamco or something like
the French.
that. My apologies if I've got that incorrect, but yeah, based out of Paris. It'll be the biggest shopping centre owner in the world after this acquisition, a bit over 104, I think, shopping centres worldwide. 35 or 33 to 35 odd billion dollar, you know, numbers we're talking. So yeah, that's a big event.
So if I'm a Westfield shareholder, should I be doing anything? Like, do you think there's a chance of a competing bid, someone else like a Brookfield or someone like that coming out of the woodwork?
Oh, always a chance, Andrew. It's hard to see at this very early stage. The board suggested that shareholders accept the offer.
Frank Lowy's accepting for his.
Yeah. So you know, there's a few approvals and all the rest that'll have to go through. So there's a bit of red tape and box ticking, so to speak. But hard to see really anyone else coming out with a better offer than this. With the combination of this new mob shares plus a bit of cash, they're valuing Westfield Corp's shares at about $10 each. I think they closed yesterday at $8.50 or something like that. So it's upward of 18% on the last trade price. So pretty good offer, but yeah, I saw the price there just before. They're trading at about $9.70, so there's a little bit of a discount to that sort of theoretical price. But oh, look, I think you just have to sit back and maybe let the waves crash over for the next few days. But certainly, you know, it's probably, you know, potentially a good opportunity to perhaps take out a little bit of profit before Christmas.
And it's interesting you talk about shares because normally when an overseas company issues shares, we're immediately a bit dubious because you're dealing with another exchange and your currency risk and all that nonsense. Whereas they're actually going to be, what's the name of the company again?
Unibail Rodamco.
Sorry, that was really unkind.
Unibail Rodamco.
I've got no idea. The French mob, they're going to actually be listed here in Australia. So that's a real positive. So if you're a holder of Westfield shares, so not that I'm just thinking out loud, I wonder if there's going to be rollover relief. If they're actually listed, there could actually be some rollover relief from a tax point of view. Not that we're giving tax advice. Have a chat to your friendly accountant, but yeah, that's probably something we should be having a look into. John, if you can make a note of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're right, Andrew. Yeah, the CHESS depository instruments they'll be coming out as, and they're supposedly going to structure them so that they'll potentially be able to be included in the various indices around the place as well. So yeah, no, but certainly a good short-term windfall by the looks of it for Westfield Corp shareholders.
Not too bad. And the other big news that came out yesterday was Transurban raising about $1.9 billion to fund that tunnel in Melbourne. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, it looks like a good win for Transurban, Andrew. Yeah, the Westgate Tunnel, Melbourne, as you say, 1.9 bill. I think they're going to raise a bit through a rights issue, 3 for 37 from memory, something like that.
At 11.40.
Yeah. So, but you know, Transurban's been a good, solid operator for many years. It's you know, one of those utilities companies, I guess, that's benefited too from very low interest rates over the past 5, 6, 7 years. But yeah, you'd have to think that this looks pretty good for Transurban and just another string to their bow, so to speak.
Yeah, and the concession is till 2045, so it's a pretty good long-term contract for them. But it's a good segue to the last thing we wanted to talk about today. You know, you're talking about low interest rates, which has really benefited, you know, Australian Pipeline Trust, Transurban, Sydney Airports, you know, those sort of infrastructure style companies. US interest rates. What's going on there? What's the thought over the next week or so?
Yeah, Fed meeting tonight, Andrew. They come around every 6 weeks or so. I think there's about an 87% probability of an interest rate rise in America. So they sort of base it on a range. So at the moment it's 1% to 1.25%. So the expectation is that'll just go from up to 1.25 to 1.5%. So reasonably confident that we'll see the Fed Reserve hike rates over in the States, and that's certainly not going to come as any great surprise.
And so I think for listed infrastructure companies, as you're saying, it's no great surprise. It's sort of been built in. What's the final question? What's the implication for the dollar, the Aussie dollar, with that going on, do you think?
Yeah, you'd expect a bit of pressure on the Aussie dollar compared to the US dollar. Interest rates tend to encourage foreign investment. Of course, to have foreign investment into the country, they've got to buy your currency, which creates demand. So we should expect that there'll be some weakness in the AUD. As you mentioned, the market's really expecting that rates will be going up anyway, so a lot of that will be factored in already. But you'd have to think that if Australian rates stay low and rates around the world continue to rise, because I think Europe's also talking interest rates in the next couple of days, the Aussie dollar will probably weaken against those major currencies.
So a bit of a teaser for next week. We might have a bit of a recap as to sort of what's happened during the year, and maybe even a bit of a crystal ball gazing session leading into 2018, and certainly some of the things we've just been talking about relating to interest rates. That'll have some interesting impacts on the Aussie dollar forecast, which I might add everyone had wrong this year. Everyone thought the Aussie dollar would be sort of 65 cents by about this time this year, and not even remotely close. So.
Yeah, trying to predict where currencies are going is fraught with disaster, fraught with danger.
Paper, rock, scissors stuff. Anyway, that's Dornbush Download done for us for today. Please leave your comments, likes, shares. We always enjoy sort of getting your feedback. So till next week, thank you.
Thank you.